The day the human ship arrived at Velsari, the entire Concord assembly paused. Alien species of all shapes and sizes turned their attention to the silver vessel gliding toward the grand docking tower. Some had never seen a human before. Others had only heard rumors talk of a wild, dangerous species rising fast from a quiet corner of the galaxy. Inside the ship, Commander Elias Rain stood quietly, adjusting the collar of his black diplomatic uniform. No medals, no badges, only the simple silver crest of Earth's United Coalition. He looked calm. Calm, maybe. The crew moved around him, tense, but excited. It was the first time Earth had been invited to the Galactic Concordia, powerful council of over 100 alien civilizations. Humans had only recently developed faster-than-light travel. Some members of the Concord still didn't believe Earth deserved a place. But Elias Rain had been chosen carefully, not just because he was a skilled negotiator. There was something about him, something quiet and powerful. A presence that made even angry voices pause. Landing complete, the pilot announced. "Good luck, Commander." Elias gave a small nod and stepped out. The Concord Assembly, the Concord Hall, was massive. Carved from dark stone and glowing crystal. Above, giant windows showed the planet's twin suns. Below, rows of alien leaders filled their seats, some humanoid, some with wings or tentacles, others glowing or floating in tanks. At the far end stood the throne of Queen Elthari of the Zeroin, ruler of the oldest and most powerful race in the Concord. Her body was tall and slender, her skin like living crystal. Her voice rarely heard but always feared. As Elias entered the hall, a murmur spread through the crowd. "A human here," the speaker of the Concord, floating being made of light and sound, announced, representing the human homeworld, Earth. "Commander Elias Rain." Elias stepped forward calmly. He didn't bow. He didn't look nervous. He simply raised his eyes, looked straight at the Queen, and said, "I am Elias Rain." At that moment, everything changed. The Queen's reaction, Queen Elthari, known for her emotionless rule, suddenly froze. Her long fingers, resting on the throne, tightened slightly. The soft glow of her crystal skin flickered. Her eyes, which normally stared without expression, widened. A strange silence fell. Then, very softly, the Queen whispered, "It can't be." The words were not meant for others, but the chamber was quiet enough that everyone heard. Gasps and whispers echoed through the assembly. No one had ever seen the Queen react like this. Elias didn't move. His face showed no surprise. But his eyes studied the Queen carefully. The speaker, unsure what to do, tried to continue. "Queen Elthari, is there a problem?" The Queen stood. Slowly, her voice calm but sharp, echoed through the chamber. "This audience is over." Then she turned and vanished into the shadows of her chamber, leaving confusion behind. Whispers and rumors back on the human ship. Elias returned without a word. The crew tried to ask questions, but he gave no answers. In the Concord Hall, chaos had begun. Why did the Queen react that way? Did she know Elias? Had humans been here before? The other delegates argued. Some demanded an investigation. Others wanted to expel the humans. But a few, especially the younger species, were curious. Who was Elias Rain? Why did the Queen, the most powerful being in the Concord, whisper those three chilling words? Memories in crystalline side her private chamber, Queen Elthari stood before a great wall of crystal memory. The Zeroin had recorded history, not in books or data, but in living crystal that could replay ancient events. Her hands trembled as she activated the records. She searched for one name, Rain. The crystal glowed, and a scene from 10,000 years ago appeared. A massive battle, starships burning, the architects, the oldest enemies, sweeping across the galaxy. And then, a figure, not Zeroin, not architect, a man, human in shape, but from no known world. Eyes cold with logic, mind too fast, too deep. Rain, he had no army, no fleet, only strategies, deadly brilliant, unstoppable. He had turned the tide of the war almost alone, and then, At the final battle, he had vanished. Elthery had been young then. She had only seen him once from far away, but she never forgot his voice. And now, 10,000 years later, he stood before her, human, and somehow still the same. The private message back on the human ship. A message arrived from the Queen, short and direct. I request a private audience. No guards, no recording, no interruptions. The crew panicked. Was this an execution? A trap? Elias simply replied, accepted. And without another word, he left for the Queen's chamber. The private chamber was nothing like the grand hall where the Concord Assembly met. It was smaller, darker, and quieter. Only the faint hum of ancient technology filled the space. Queen Elthery stood by a tall window, looking out at the city of Valsari below. The city was alive with light, sound, and endless motion. But the Queen's mind was far away, lost in memories and questions. When the door opened, Elias Rain stepped in without hesitation. He moved calmly, his posture still, proud but cautious. The tension in the room was thick, but Elias seemed unaffected. Elthery, he said quietly. You asked for me. The Queen turned slowly, her eyes glowing faintly, studied him carefully. Commander Rain, you carry a name that echoes through our histories. A name thought lost to time. Elias said nothing. His face was unreadable. The Queen gestured toward a glowing crystal console. Tell me, why have you come here? Why now? Elias looked away for a moment, then back. Because the past is not dead. Because you fear what you don't understand. The story of Rain Elthery sat, motioning for Elias to do the same. You speak like you know more than a simple envoy should. I know more than I let others see, Elias replied. And you? No more than you admit, she nodded slowly. Centuries ago, a figure named Rain appeared during the Great War against the Architects. Your name was whispered in fear and respect across the galaxy. The Queen activated the crystal display. Again. This time, images of old battles flashed, ships exploding, entire worlds burning, strategy maps glowing. In that time, she explained, Rain was a strategist unmatched, a ghost in the war. We believed him to be an alien of unknown origin, perhaps even a weapon created by the architects themselves. Then he disappeared, and we thought the war was over. Ilias's eyes darkened. That war never truly ended, Elthery raised an eyebrow. Explain. Memory's not your own, Elias hesitated, then spoke slowly. In the past months, I have felt things, memories that are not mine. Images of battles fought long before I was born. Voices speaking in languages I do not know. Faces of beings long dead. He clenched his fists. First I thought I was losing my mind. The Queen studied him closely. Are you Rain? I do not know, Elias admitted. But I know this Psi have been drawn here for a reason. Something is coming, and it fears what I might be. Elthery stood, pacing the room. The architects were believed destroyed, but their influence may remain, or masters of mental control and manipulation. What if they left behind a weapon within you? Elias looked her straight in the eyes. Then I must find out. I must face whatever I am. The council's doubts while the private meeting took place. The Concord Assembly was in chaos. Ambassadors shouted, accusing Earth of hiding secrets. Why was the human envoy's name enough to silence the Queen? One asked. Is he a spy? Another demanded. A group called the Verdict pushed for immediate expulsion of humans. They said Earth was dangerous, too unpredictable. But other members argued for patience. One young alien delegate from the planet Luara spoke up, her voice firm. Humans are new, yes. But we have seen their courage and creativity. Maybe it is time to learn from them. The vote was split. The Assembly agreed to postpone any decisions until the truth about Elias Rain was clear. A secret warning after the meeting. Elias returned to his ship, but his rest was short. His personal communicator buzzed with a hidden message. The message was from a shadowy figure known only as Myra, a former Zero-In agent who had secretly watched over Earth's rise. Commander Rain. Her voice was urgent. You do not know the danger that follows you. The architects are not gone. They are returning slowly, quietly. You must prepare. Elias stared at the message. He had no time to waste. The ancient code that night. Elias sat alone in his quarters, reviewing ancient Earth records and alien texts collected by the Concord. He discovered references to a mental firewall, a defense mechanism that could resist the architect's control. The problem? It was genetic. It needed a host. Could Elias be that host? His thoughts raced. He remembered the strange memories, the dreams, the voice inside his mind that urged him to fight. He realized the weight of his name was more than history. It was a legacy. A choice made the next morning, Elias met with his crew. "We are not just here to represent Earth," he told them. "We are here to protect Eton, the galaxy." His team nodded, trusting him without question. "We will learn everything we can about the architects, and we will be ready." As the human ship prepared for its next steps, Elias knew one thing. His journey had only begun. The stars outside the human ship shone cold and distant, but inside, Elias Rain's mind burned with questions. He sat alone in the dim light of the command room, staring at the glowing map of the galaxy. Something ancient had awakened, something dangerous, the architects. The truth revealed the next day. Elias met secretly with Queen Elthari again. This time her expression was serious but calm. "We cannot keep hiding from the truth," she said. "The architects never truly vanished. Their power changed, but they exist in another form now." Elias frowned. "What form?" "The architects are no longer a single race or fleet. They have become shadows whispers in the minds of others. They invade from within, taking control slowly, replacing leaders and soldiers alike." Elthari's eyes pierced his. "Your memories, your strange abilities, they are because you carry what we call the rain strain, a genetic pattern designed to resist the architect's mental control." Elias felt the weight of the revelation. "So I am a weapon," Elthari said quickly. "A shield. The galaxy's last hope." An impossible pasty. Elias stood silently. The room seemed to close in around him. "How can this be?" he asked softly. "If I carry the rain strain, why was I born on Earth? Why do I have no memory of any past life?" Elthari's voice softened. "'Cause you were hidden, protected. The architect's threat was so great that your ancestors, scientists, and warriors from long ago created you anew, with no memory but the potential to awaken when needed." Elias thought of his childhood, the strange dreams, the flashes of other lives, the sense that he was more than human. "Now the architects return," he said, "and I must be ready." The verdict's attack news of Elias's true nature leaked. Quickly, the verdict. A secret faction in the Concord saw him as a threat, a dangerous unknown that could tear the Alliance apart. They launched a sudden attack on the human ship during a diplomatic meeting. Explosions rocked the corridors. Security alarms blared. Elias moved fast, leading his team to protect the crew and the ship in the chaos. The verdict's agents tried to capture him, but Elias fought with a strength and skill beyond his training. His mind seemed sharper, faster anticipating their moves, the power within, as the battle raged. Elias felt something awaken inside him. A calm spread through his mind. And then a flood of clarity. His body moved with purpose. His vision sharpened. He could see through the attackers' intentions before they acted. His fists struck with precision, disarming and disabling. The crew watched in awe. "I am not just a diplomat," Elias said, breathing hard. "I am the rain they feared." Aftermath and allies. When the attack ended, the ship was damaged but still intact. Elias stood before his crew, tired but resolute. "We have enemies inside the Concord," he said. "Enemies who do not want peace. We must expose them." Word spread quickly. Some in the Concord began to believe Elias was the key to stopping the architects. Return, Queen Elthari sent a message of support, inviting him to join a special council to investigate the infiltration. A new mission. Elias accepted the Queen's offer. Knowing the path ahead would be difficult, he would face not only enemies in battle, but enemies of trust and politics. But he was ready. For the first time, he felt connected to a past, a legacy, and a future. He was not just human. He was the rain strain and the galaxy's last hope. The quiet of the Concorde's space station was deceptive beneath its shining surface. Dangers lurked unseen. Elias Rain had learned this the hard way. The attack by the Verdict had been only the beginning. Hidden threats the Special Council met. In a high room overlooking the city of Velsari, leaders from many species gathered, their faces serious, their voices cautious. Queen Elthari sat at the center, her crystal eyes sharp. Elias stood beside her, feeling the weight of their gaze. "Must find the infiltrators," Elthari said. "The architects have learned to hide inside minds. We cannot fight what we cannot see." The council agreed to start a careful investigation. Suspicion and paranoia, but suspicion, grew fast. The Verdict's attack had shattered trust. Ambassadors eyed each other warily. Whispers of betrayal floated through the halls. Elias felt the tension. Around him every moment, he knew that the real battle was not just in space, but in hearts and minds. The mind probe to find the infiltrators. The council used a device called the Mind Probe. It could scan a person's thoughts, memories for signs of the architect's control. Elias watched as one ambassador after another volunteered or was forced to undergo the scan. Some came out clean. Others, their eyes glazed over, their minds trapped. They were lost. A close friend revealed Elias was shocked when one of his closest allies, Captain Jorah from the planet Lura, was found to be controlled. Jorah had been by Elias's side since the beginning. When the scan revealed her mind was twisted by the architects, she tried to fight it but failed. Elias was torn. Could he save her? Or was she gone forever? The hidden enemy strikes, just as the council thought they were making progress. Disaster struck again. The Verdict's faction staged a new attack not on the human ship, but on Velsari itself. Their goal, to kill Queen Elthari and destroy the Concorde leadership. Elias and the Queen barely escaped the explosion that rocked the palace. Dangerous alliance with the Concorde in chaos. Elias realized he needed allies outside the council. He reached out to Mira, the former Zerone agent who had warned him earlier. Mira brought news. The architects have a base hidden on a forgotten moon. It's the source of their mind control. Together, they planned a secret mission to destroy the base. The mission begins. Leosa gathered a small team trusted soldiers, diplomats, and scientists. Their ship was fast, but lightly armed. The mission was risky, deep into enemy territory, with no backup. But Elias knew it was the only way to stop the architects. The small ship sliced through space toward the forgotten moon, the secret base of the architects.
Ow.
It was hidden in the shadow of a gas giant, a place so dark and cold that even the stars seemed to avoid it. Commander Elias Rain sat in the cockpit, his eyes steady, but his mind racing. This was the moment he had prepared for his whole life, whether he remembered it or not. Arrival at the base. The
Ow.
moon's surface was jagged and lifeless. No signs of life, only the cold wind of space dust blowing across black rocks. Elias and his team landed carefully, their boots crunching on the rough ground. The base was a huge fortress carved into the mountain, glowing faintly with strange energy. "No," one spoke as they moved inside, their senses alert. The air smelled metallic and sharp. Inside the fortress, the corridors were narrow and twisted. The walls hummed with power. Elias led the team quietly. Careful not to trigger alarms, they reached a massive chamber filled with machines, complex and glowing. Mira studied the controls. This is their mind control core. Broadcast the architects. Influence across the galaxy. Destroying it would break the spell on the infiltrated minds, freeing those lost. The final battle suddenly. Alarms blared. Architect soldiers appeared twisted, shadowy figures moving fast. Elias and his team fought. Fiercely, the battle was brutal. Elias felt the strange power inside him rise. His mind blocked the architect's attacks. His body moved with strength he never knew. One by one, his team disabled the enemy. Destroying the core with the soldiers defeated Elias. And Mira reached the core. They placed explosives carefully. Elias looked at Mira. "This ends now." She nodded. They set the timers and raced out as the fortress began to shake. Escape the base exploded behind them, fireball lighting the dark moon. Their ship soared into space just in time. Elias watched the destruction, feeling a strange peace. Architect's control was broken. A new dawn back on Velsari. The Concord celebrated, the infiltrated were freed from the Architect's grip. Queen Eltheri approached Elias. "You have saved us all," she said. "But the true victory," Elias replied, "is what we build next." Legacy of Renelias was offered a place as a permanent member of the Concord Council. He accepted, but with one condition: we must welcome all species, even those once forgotten or feared. The Queen smiled. A wise choice. Elias looked to the stars. Knowing his journey was far from over, he was no longer just a human. He was the legacy of Guardian, of a galaxy ready to write its own future.